1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mill Creek. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hi there, meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer coming to you from the streaming center at Fox 19 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Okay, level check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like everything's working here. Let's see. Turn on Roku and all those others. Okay, this is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. I'm about to do the 7:15 live streaming weather show that we do every Monday through Friday from the streaming center here at Fox 19 now. So let's go ahead and we'll be taking a look at quite a few things. A lot of interesting weather going on. We do have some relief from the heat and humidity on the way, and I'll talk about that in less than 1 minute. Okay, everyone, coming up in less than a minute, this is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. Actually, coming up right now, I looked at the clock and it says 7:15, so here we go. First of all, take a look at our tower cam shot. Notice only a few cumulus clouds left in the sky. We've got 83 degrees at the International Airport. The wind is a fresh breeze every once in a while, and the humidity is down, so it's a pretty nice evening compared to evenings we've had in the past. Now, there's still some microclimates with a little bit of high humidity. That would be mainly the Lebanon area and the Batesville area. But overall, much, much nicer weather. Tomorrow looks like a good day. Still pretty good on Thursday. Friday, the 4th of July, back to the sticky stuff. And then as we head on into Saturday and Sunday, hot and humid with a few spots having that heat index reach the 100-degree mark once again. So let's go ahead and see what we've got for you. Okay, so here's a quick look ahead. Tomorrow, relief from the heat and humidity, a nice day. Not bad on Thursday, although a little bit more humid, a little warmer. Hotter and more humid on Friday. And then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, we are definitely talking about hot and sticky weather. So take a look at this. Wednesday and Thursday, the heat index only 86 and 88. Friday is the 4th of July. 90 for the heat index, and that means some spots maybe a little bit hotter than that, especially the Batesville and Lebanon area or any area around a farm field. Saturday and Sunday, the heat index values rise up into the upper 90s, and as we head into Monday and Tuesday, heat index of 100 or 99 either of those days, and that means we are right back into the thick of all that stuff that we've had in the recent past. Okay. Oops, just a second. I've got to turn off. I had my audio turned up on the Facebook Live, and that would give us feedback if I wasn't careful. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at rainfall totals through 7 p.m. Notice Batesville got 1.38 inches. Now, Lebanon got some rainfall, but since 11 o'clock a.m. yesterday, they haven't reported totals. They've reported rain falling, but they haven't had any measurements, so that's not a true number. Madison, Indiana did not get any rainfall as far as we can tell, and you can see that Richmond got more than a half an inch. Oxford, actually Oxford got more than that in some spots, about a half an inch in Batavia, CVG, only 1/1800ths of an inch. Now what I want you to see here is look right over here in Highland County. You see this? Okay, this is along Paint Creek, all right? And there, a lot of rainfall. That was the heaviest rainfall we found in the tri-state. And here are some rainfall amounts. Just downstream from the Paint Creek Dam, 3.33 inches of rainfall. Hillsboro, not far away from the Paint Creek Dam there in Highland County, 1.63 inches. Glencoe, Kentucky, right there along Eagle Creek. Okay, if you cross Eagle Creek heading south on 127, you head on into Owen County. So Glencoe, 1.38 inches. Oxford, 1.03 inches, and same thing, 1.03 in the Dry Ridge, Kentucky area. So quite a lot of rain, but notice, as we mentioned in the forecast yesterday, the rain would be heavy in spots, but only in spots. Most areas would have light to moderate rainfall. That's what happened. And if you had to drive through that morning commute traffic, it was a mess in many areas, and it's amazing how just a little bit of rain really can mess things up for that morning commute. Okay, so we do have a couple of showers that have formed in the area. Not many. Okay, if we take a look, you can see that some showers formed here over Decatur County. You're heading down through Ripley County and dying out. And there might be a shower, a little bit of a shower here in southern Warren County, just outside of Loveland. And that's about it. They're going to go away, and that's it for the rainfall. That's just enough of the instability that we got from the heat of the day, okay? So we're still seeing the humidity drop off, we're seeing the cooler air arrive, and this is just some lingering shower activity that we've had around the tri-state. If you zoom into the Ripley County area, you can see the shower activity there pushing to the south. It's pretty soon going to head on into, well, the southwestern tip of Dearborn County, maybe western parts of Ohio, and of course the western and eventually central parts of Switzerland County. Present path looks like it's going to bypass Vevey. It's going to stay upriver from Vevey as it does that. So let's go ahead and see what else is going on here on this thing. We can drag the map here as it animates. And you can see, oops, wrong way, Steve. Okay, if we zoom in here, and I'll stop the animation here so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, there it is, just to the east of Murdoch, just north of Goshen. Of course, that's southern Warren County. It's, you see Harlan Township off to the east, Goshen due south of those showers, Edenton along 133 there is to the southeast of the showers. And as they head off to the south and east, they're heading basically in this direction. I think what they'll do is they'll probably bypass Goshen, stay north of Goshen, but then head over toward Edenton. So if you're watching from the Edenton area, you may very well pick up a quick shower, 5 or 6 minutes of rain, just enough to wet the ground, and that would be about it. So as we zoom out, what I want you to see is what's going on out here. All this stuff right here. When you see a big area of nothing going on, that's usually a big high pressure system. That's exactly what we have here. If you look at this in detail, we're going to show you, change the map a little bit here. Same map scale, but here's how a high pressure system works. High pressure systems in the northern hemisphere circulate like this, clockwise. In the southern hemisphere, they circulate the opposite way. Okay, so when you get a big high pressure system like this, on the east side of it, the winds out of the north drag cooler, drier air in out of Canada. On the west side, or what meteorologists often call the backside of it, drags warm, moist Gulf of Mexico air up into the United States. So on this side, lowering humidity, cooler temperatures. On this side, hot and sticky weather returns, and that's why the return of sweltery weather is what I've got there on the title. So watch what happens here. That high pressure system's heading to western North Carolina, so as it does, the orange there, the warm, moist, sticky air comes right back into the tri-state, and that stays with us. So you'll begin to really notice it on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There will be a few spots where that heat index hits the 100-degree mark, and that's kind of how the weather works in this part of the world. You've got cold air source up here, you've got a warm, moist air source down here, and basically you've got the circulation like this dragging that warm, moist air back into the tri-state for the bulk of your 4th of July weekend. But the good news is we're still under the control of high pressure as we head on into Monday, and then it'll take until probably late Monday, maybe even as late as Tuesday, to get some showers back in here. So even though it's going to be hot, and you're going to have to make sure you drink plenty of fluids, I don't think we see any rainfall for that holiday weekend. So airport temperatures at 7 p.m. Now notice off to the east, Washington Courthouse, Chillicothe, Portsmouth, Ashland, and Maysville, all in the 70s, okay? That's because they didn't clear out as early as areas to the west did. They had rain in the area later than that, and everybody else is in the 80s. Okay, so we are definitely talking about somewhat nicer weather there in the tri-state. Now, the next map we want to look at here, I had to stop the rundown because I forgot to put this in here, is a map of the current dew point temperatures. Now remember, the dew point temperatures most of last week were way into the 70s, okay? And if you look at this, the dew point's still 70 in Portsmouth. That's not unexpected because that's farther east. The drier air hasn't gotten there yet. And we've talked about this a lot, but here's the microclimate around Batesville, the microclimate around Lebanon, the dew point 73, that's really sticky. This is extremely sticky around Lebanon, but remember these small airports here, the Hillenbrand Airport and the Warren County Airport are both surrounded by crops, by big farm fields, farm operations, and those plants transpire a lot of moisture, and that moisture makes the heat index a lot higher because the dew point's higher. It just adds moisture to the air as plants do what plants do. And then you can see the dew points have dropped into the 60s elsewhere. So last week we frequently had dew points in the 72 to 75 degree range. They're all down a good 8 to 10 degrees now, with the exception of the two microclimates, the one in Batesville and the one in Lebanon. And that means that the heat index is much, much nicer than it has been recently. So let's go ahead. Come on, computer. What in the world? I'll just do this. I'll just load it myself. Okay, so then we're going to take a look at the heat index values here. And you see, because of that high humidity in the microclimate, the heat index at the Lebanon airport is 94. It's 85 in Batesville. But everybody else has heat index values down in the 80s. And so much more comfortable, much more like what we normally get around the tri-state at this time of the year. And if that term microclimate bothers you, every place is a microclimate. These are just two microclimates, the Lebanon area, the Batesville area, that really stand out. Now, if I like to use the example of my home. The front of the house faces the southeast, actually, so it gets a lot of sunshine. And the back of the house then, of course, faces, if you're looking southeast, what's behind you? Well, to the north, so a northerly direction. And so it's facing actually northwest, I guess, technically. So you get much more direct sunshine in the front of my house than you in the back of the house, okay, in the shadows there, in the shade. So the microclimate for the front of my house means that the wildflowers we have out there sometimes bloom 2 to 4 weeks earlier than you do elsewhere in the yard because that microclimate has an extra load of sunshine. And the world is full of that. Every single spot is its own little microclimate. Sometimes they don't really stand out, but in this case, the microclimate of Batesville, the Batesville Airport, I should say, the Hillenbrand Airport, is because of the farm fields. Same thing with the Lebanon area, and that really makes it look a lot different. not really representative. What's more representative of what's going on around the tri-state is like CVG, the Oxford area, Batavia, much more representative of the heat index values we have. So this evening, we drop from a current temperature of 83 to 72 by 11 p.m. Excuse me. Notice the winds are out of the northwest, and the model did pick up on those showers we just saw on radar. Overnight, we're looking at temperatures dropping into the mid-60s officially, and that's for CVG. There will be some spots, especially some rural valleys, which briefly dip into the upper 50s, but I think upper 50s just in a few spots, low 60s in many rural areas, especially to the northwest. And then notice that icon right here on 6 a.m. It's the fog icon. So we have a little bit of patchy fog in the forecast, and I'll show you that on one of the latest model maps so you can see where that's going to be. And the sun's up at 6:17 tomorrow. And then for Wednesday, sunset at 9:08. I've got a high of 85. That is 1 degree cooler than the normal high of 86. The low temperatures overnight will be about normal, about 65. And of course, the record for tomorrow, 100, the record low, 50. So we're far from either of those. Okay, now, Climate Prediction Center says in the 6 to 10 day outlook that the Fox 19 now viewing area stays warmer than normal. That goes through the 11th of July. Through the 15th of July, the middle of the month, we drop back to about normal. Okay, so you can think in terms of, hey, we had that heat wave, no more heat wave coming our way through the middle of the month anyway. When you look at precipitation, you look at 3 to 4 week temperature outlook, through the 27th of July, we go back to warmer than normal. Not extremely hot, but warmer than normal for that stretch of time. And this particular graphic was done on Friday. It's only updated once a week. The others are updated daily. So this will be updated on Friday from the Climate Prediction Center. And here's also some good news. We are looking at precipitation being a little bit higher than normal through the 11th, and a little bit higher, not quite as moist, but a little bit higher than normal through the 15th of July, and then not far from normal through the 27th, okay? So here's the map, the forecast map of fog and visibility. And I want to note that it takes about a quarter-mile visibility or less for there to be a serious impact on traffic. Now, people do begin to slow down when the visibility is down to a mile. But when it gets down to a quarter mile, that's when people are beginning to think, hey, I might not be able to stop and something will come up really quick, so they slow down. So what we have here is off to the south and east, that's in Adams, almost all of Lewis County, and the far eastern part of Mason County, with a little bit of Brown County along the river in fog at 2 a.m. Okay, now if you see it in red, you see the red patches there? Those red patches are where the visibility, according to the model, will drop to a quarter mile or less. Okay, and so most of that area won't have a serious impact on traffic, but there will be some patches. Now that's 2 a.m. Let's go forward to 5:30 a.m. And you can see there's not much more red, but the fog has expanded. And what's really interesting, this model picks up on the Ohio River, okay? And there's a little creek down here in eastern Mason County called Cabin Creek, and it's showing fog along Cabin Creek also. So at 5:30 a.m., a good portion of eastern Adams County has got some fog, but only patches will have visibilities a quarter mile or less. Almost all of Lewis County has fog. Vanceburg, which is really, I don't know why this map has it down here, but it's really up closer to the river, has a half-mile visibility, and there are a few patches where it might drop to a quarter, but still not that bad. And then as you follow along the Ohio River, you see here, so here's Adams County, here's Brown County, okay? Here's Mason County, and you can see a few patches along the Ohio River of fog that's thick enough to slow traffic down. Here in northern Bracken County, probably along Kentucky 8, there's also enough fog for there to be a slowdown in traffic. And of course, that extends all the way up here into southern Claremont County, so the Shiloh area may have some fog tomorrow morning, but it's not that widespread. And then when you go down here, you wonder, okay, now why would there be fog down this way? Well, Bracken County, Robertson County, here's Pendleton County, and this squiggly line right here is a fork of the Licking River. So here's the North Fork, here's the Licking River, and so this is the low area with high high water table, and with the winds going calm, enough moisture around so that there might be some fog in this part of southeastern Pendleton County, southwestern Bracken County, the western part of Robertson County, right along the Licking River Valley. So the fog isn't a big issue, but there will be a few spots, especially off to the south and east of Cincinnati, where fog could become an issue. And by the time we get to 7:30 a.m., notice there's more red. The stuff along the Ohio River is gone, except from Maysville over into Lewis County. And then there's a little bit more red out there, and then it goes away pretty quickly, so that by 10 a.m. we are done with the fog around the tri-state there, okay? All right, so 7-day forecast looks like this. Low temperature tonight, 65. Now all these temperatures are based on the official temperature. So if you're living in a rural valley or a low spot, it could be cooler than that. A few rural spots could drop into the upper 50s. 85 the high tomorrow with comfortable sunshine. Still okay on Thursday, a little warmer by a degree, a little bit more humid, but not bad for this time of year. The high 86. Friday, the 4th of July. Warmer and more humid. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be sticky, not oppressive, but sticky with a high of 88. And then the heat and humidity are back for Saturday and Sunday with high temperatures in the low 90s both days. The heat index will surpass the 100-degree mark in a few spots, but in most areas it'll top out in the upper 90s. Monday and Tuesday, because of additional cloud cover and the chance for a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms, not quite as hot as the weekend, but both days the chance for a few showers and thunderstorms here and there. Nothing widespread, just those pop-up summertime thunderstorms around the tri-state. All right, now we'll go to beyond the 7-day forecast. And you can see that high temperatures aren't that far from normal. Normal high now is 86. It stays that way through the rest of the month of July. So we've got 1, 2, 3 days warmer, 3 days cooler, and a couple days right at. So near normal for the 7 days that extend on into the 15th of July. Excuse me, I'm losing my mind here. 15th of July. And you've got shower and thunderstorm activity, scattered stuff each and every day. Now, that does not mean that every single day here is going to have rain and be a washout in your location. It means we've got the typical summer pop-up stuff. Like a few pop-up showers could occur over, let's say, Bracken County, but nothing in Mason County, or over in Dearborn County, but nothing in Hamilton County. So this is the typical pop-up shower and thunderstorm activity that we get, where most people do not get rain, but a few do, okay? So basically that is what it looks like. And again, let's go ahead and take a look at the 14-day temperature forecast all on one graphic. They're the high temperatures, they're the lows. We put the normal high and low temperature lines on there, and you can see that we're hugging normal. All right, so there's a takeaway with this 14-day forecast. Okay, temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer than normal, I think, on the average for this 14-day stretch. What does that mean? What's the important part of that? It's just a little bit warmer than normal. Means even though we might have a few hot days, we're not going to have a big, extensive, long-term heat wave. That's just not in the cards right now. Precipitation, a little bit more than normal through the middle of the month. That means we're not looking at a drought starting like we had late summer last summer. Okay, so those are good news. It's going to be normally hot and it's going to be normally wet. But no drought coming yet and no big heat wave. Now, that could change later on in the summer, but right now through the middle of the month of July, I think we're going to be okay. Spotty summer-type showers are in the forecast through the middle of the month. And again, no big systems that'll bring us days and days of rainfall. That's just not a summertime thing usually, and that won't happen this time, it looks like. And then your lawns and gardens will need some watering. I mean, it's not like with the summertime precipitation, that means the pop-ups could hit all around you and not get you for a week or so. You may have to do some watering, but we're not looking at a really a very serious situation, especially for those of you that farm, have large gardens, or have large lawns that are really hard to water. So that's the forecast on through the next 14 days. So let me go ahead, see who we've got watching here on Facebook and commenting, and see if I can answer any questions in that here. Doug Fonner says hello. Hello, Doug. Michelle Paulette. What? We voted? I don't understand. So, Doug Fawners says, how's your evening? My evening's great. I'm having a great time. The weather and whenever the weather forecast works out, that's a good day. I really don't like to be wrong, and sometimes you're going to be. So you just don't know everything. But so far, the weather forecast has been working out as we planned. Susan Wally says, good evening, beautiful evening out there. Jessica Candace says, good evening. Hello to Susan and Jessica. Melvin Stone Street. It's going to be a hot weekend. I'm afraid so, Melvin. Not only hot, but also humid, and so that that heat index will be oppressive. And again, I know you watch a TV show and we go on and on and on about drink water, electrolytes, blah, 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 blah. Don't do anything stupid is what I say. Or just do what you know is right to do, okay? If you start feeling woozy, it's time for a break. Drink some water, make sure you've got some electrolytes. What are the important electrolytes? Okay, I've been a distance athlete for my entire life. A runner, and once my knees began to give out, I went to bicycling and can't ride as long as I used to, can't go as fast as I used to, but it's still important to hydrate in that. So here are the important things. You need to hydrate, you need to keep your blood sugar high, and you need to keep your electrolytes in balance, okay? Electrolytes are the substances that help transmit electrical signals and help keep your muscles from cramping, help your heart stay regular, things like that. So what are the important, and everybody knows blood sugar, just eat something with calories in it. Hydrate, just drink plenty of water, but water alone is not enough. You do need something with the electrolytes. And of course, the most famous drink for electrolytes is Gatorade. It was done in Florida for the Florida Seminoles. If I remember, it was the University of Florida. And they played football in that hot, Florida sunshine, so they needed something to replace electrolytes. And that was really the first one I'm familiar with, although we used to take salt tablets when I was in high school, but salt's not enough. So what are the electrolytes that are so important? Okay, there's sodium and there's chloride. Okay, now, of course, sodium chloride is table salt. So if you eat something that's salty, you're getting more than likely plenty of sodium and chloride to keep your keep your electrolyte balance going. The next most important one is potassium. Okay, potassium, really important in stopping muscle cramps, really important in keep your heart regular. And with any of these, you can do too much of them. More isn't always better. You've got to keep it right there within the bounds. What are good sources of potassium? Okay, first of all, the really good source of potassium is orange juice. Okay, orange juice has a lot of potassium. So when I go on a long bike ride, I make my own stuff. I use about half orange juice and half water. Okay, that's to lower the acidity a little. And then I also put some other powdered like potassium in it. So I make my own. But great thing for potassium, orange juice. Another great thing for potassium is potatoes. Okay, so let's think about this for a minute. And this is really cool, I think anyway, is that if let's say you're out riding your bike along the bike trail and you stop at a place and you want to get something to help your electrolyte balance, it's hard to be better than potato chips. Potatoes are high in potassium, and of course potato chips are salted, so you're getting your potassium, you're getting your sodium, and you're getting your chloride. And there are other important ones, but those are the big three because a lot of them, like phosphorus and calcium, can be pulled from your bones, and they're more rebuilding type of electrolytes. But if you keep sodium, chloride, and you keep potassium in balance, for the most part, you're going to be okay. So let me go back to potassium. Everybody knows how you get sodium and chloride. You eat something that's salty. Okay, with potassium, orange juice is probably one of the best. Dried apricots are even better, but they don't do well on my stomach. So orange juice is really good for potassium. Of course, potato chips, because potatoes have a lot of potassium. Bananas have a lot of potassium. They're great. Bananas are the best distance runners' food you can think of. And let's see, peanut butter is also good for potassium. And there are many other things, and I just named the ones I use most. So oftentimes, if I'm taking a long bike ride, I'll put a piece of bread with peanut butter on it. I'll have my orange juice mix for my drink, and of course, I'll stop and get some potato chips. And that usually takes care of it. So it's not always a negative thing. If you're a potato chip lover like I am, and you eat potato chips while you're doing a long bike ride or a long run or a long hike, you're getting your potassium, you're getting your chloride, you're getting your sodium, and that should help you stay that way. Okay, enough from me. Let's see. Okay, I've lost track of where I am in the comments. Okay, Jessica Candace says, hello. Good evening to you, Jessica. Melvin Stone Street, I already talked to you about this weekend being hot and humid, and that's how I got off on my tangent talking about electrolytes. Garnet Rothwell says, hello. Hi, Garnet. Nice to hear from you again. Brandon Hobson, a good Tuesday evening. Good Tuesday evening to you too, Brandon. Let's see. Mark Rogers, is it fog or corn sweat? Well, I tell you what. Usually if you get, and the story goes like this. Those of you that watch for all know that a meteorologist named Ethan Emery used to work here at 12. He's from Highland County, and when he was an intern here at Fox 19, he used to drive back and forth from Hillsborough, or the Hillsborough area, Berryville actually, and he would go home every night, and there'd be fog out there. And every single day he'd come in and he'd put fog in the forecast, and it's like, Ethan, what are you doing? It's not going to be foggy. Why are you putting fog in the forecast every day? And then he explained to me that he drove through all this fog, and we researched it, and it turned out to be corn sweat. Because crops like corn is a grass, they transpire an immense amount of soil moisture through the corn stalks and the leaves and expel it to the atmosphere. And so oftentimes you have 100% relative humidity around a cornfield at night when the winds have settled down and everything's settling down and not being blown around. And so in this case, it looks like it'll be fog in those river valleys, but I can't rule out some fog in some of the corn sweat areas either. Okay. Okay, Stephen Bryce Campbell, we have... Yeah, we still have the chance of some severe thunderstorms, but in the next 14 days, that looks like it's going to be more rare than anything else. I think we're going to stay pretty much with just typical summertime pop-up stuff. My sister Gail Horstmeyer Smith says, when's my last day on the air? It's going to be, I think it's the 28th of August, might be the 29th. That all depends on how the schedule works out. All right, those are all the comments we have. So let's see here. Let me go back to the 7-day forecast, and we'll go over that for you. Okay, the 7-day forecast will pop up here in a second, and I'll put it in full screen. We'll go over the 7-day and the extended forecast for you here. All right, so your 7-day forecast looks like this. Low tonight, 65, high tomorrow, 85. We're calling it comfy sunshine. 64 and 86 on Thursday, really kind of normal on Thursday. It'll be humid, you'll feel the humidity, but not anything extreme. The real uncomfortable humidity is back Friday, and the really sticky stuff could be dangerous if you don't take precautions when you're out and about in the heat. Saturday and Sunday is back with the heat index in a few spots making it over the 100-degree mark. And then Monday and Tuesday, still hot, still humid, upper 80s. With a chance of showers and thunderstorms both days. Both of those days, additional cloud cover. That's why the temperature's down a little bit. Now, when we go to beyond the 7-day forecast, high temperatures will be in the upper 80s to mid 80s, and then dropping into the lower 80s. Normal high through this 7-day stretch here is 86. Normal low is 66. So we're going to be about or warmer than normal on the low side, and about or a little bit below normal on the high temperature side, so it's going to average out to be near normal. So if you take a look at the graph that shows you the next 14 days, we've only got 2 days there in the 90s, but the high temperatures, low temperatures, and if you compare those to normal, what you see is temperatures that'll be near normal. Okay, so there's a takeaway here, and the takeaway on this is, on this 14-day stretch, and when we compare that, we also looked at the Climate Prediction Center stuff earlier, is that temperatures will be a little bit warmer than normal, I think, on the average for the next, through the middle of the month. Precipitation just a little bit more than normal through the middle of the month. The precipitation will come almost exclusively in the form of spotty summertime showers Okay, now some of those could turn out to be one or two isolated strong thunderstorms, but for the most part, that hit and miss stuff that you can't count on. And so that means lawns and gardens should be basically okay, but they'll need some watering, not extensive watering, but you'll probably need to do some watering if you happen to be in one of those spots that doesn't pick up a shower or a thunderstorm. Okay, that is it for now. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:15 and we'll do this all again. Again, I'll be off on Friday, and meteorologist Aaron Ashley will be in taking care of duties. So thanks for joining me. Have yourself a nice evening, and hope you got something useful out of this little weather show.